pages 4 to 6. Let's have a look at the first question. Ask you to write down the square of 8. When we square a number, we multiply it by itself. So 8 times 8 is 64. Question 1b, 10 to the power of 3. When we raise something to the power, it tells us how many times we've multiplied it by itself. So that is the same as saying 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, and 100 times 10 is 1000. Question C asks us to estimate this answer. Now this symbol means square root, and that is the opposite of squaring. So we need to know our square numbers. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. You must know your square numbers up to 12 squared and the corresponding square roots. Now 20 lies between 4 squared and 5 squared. In fact, if I look now at these numbers on a number line, that is 5 different from the number I want, and between 16 and 20 it is 4 different. So the answer is closer to 16, so the square root of 20 is roughly 4. Question 2 asks us to write down from the list, so I can only use these answers, a factor of 20. A factor is smaller, it is a number that goes into 20. So we go down and it's only asking us to write down 1. So let's check the first number. Does 4 go into 20 without a remainder? Yes, it does. And that's all I need. I could have chosen 5 would work, and that would be it. So 4 or 5 are both correct, but we only want one answer. Multiple is your times table, so we're writing out our 10 times table. I can see that both 30 and 40 would work, and I only need one of them. Prime number. Prime number is a number that only one and itself goes into it, nothing else. And it's got to be greater than 15. So I can't look at these numbers because they're smaller than 15. Let's check what number divides exactly into 25. 5. So that isn't a square number. What number goes into 29? I can't think of one, so that could be my answer, but let's check the others. What number goes into 30? Well, 10 goes in, 3, so it can't be that. What goes into 33? 3 does. What goes into 39? 3 does. And what goes into 40? Well, it's even, so 2 does. So it has to be 29. Notice I went and checked every single number before putting my answer down. Right, question number 3. We're asked to express 180 as a product of prime factors. So we need a prime factor tree. We're going to divide by our prime numbers. That is 2, 3, 5, 7, not 9, and 11. So let's start with 2. It's an even number, so I know that 2 goes into it. Half of 180. Well, if we're struggling, I do half of 100, which is 50, and half of 80 is 40. So my answer will be 90. Sometimes partitioning helps. Now 90 is an even number, so I can divide it by 2. And when I divide it by 2, well, not sure about half of 90, but I know that half of 50 is 25 and half of 40 is 20, so my answer is 45. You can partition it any way you want to. Now 2 doesn't go into 45, but I know it's a member of the 5 times table, so I'm going to divide by 5. And 9 is a member of the 3 times table, so I'm going to divide it by 3. And I stop when this number at the end is the same as one of these prime numbers. These are the start of my prime numbers. Now I need to write its product, and product means times. So my answer is 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 5. You can even write it as 2 squared times 3 squared, because there's 2 of them, times 5. Both answers are correct. So both of these answers would work. Right, let's have a look at question number 4. Question number 4, we're asked to write down 7 squared. 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. Remember from the previous question, this tick symbol means square root, and the square root of 25 is 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Question number 5. Square root of 81 is 9, because 9 times 9 is 81. Question 5b. 5 squared is 25. 2 cubed, which we've just done before, we know is 8, and we need to add them together, so we get 33. Right, question number 6. Again, we've got to write from this list an odd number, so 3 would work. A multiple of 6. Multiples are your times table, your 6 times table. And I'm just checking from my list. I can see 12 is a correct answer, or 24 would work. Factor is a number that goes into it. 2 goes into 18, leaving no remainder. 3 goes into 18, leaving no remainder. Right, question 7. So question 7, we're asked to write down an odd number from the list. So 3 would work, 5 would work, and that is it. So this is actually a repeat of the previous question using the similar numbers. Question 7b, write down a square number. So that's a number where you multiply by itself. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, and 5 squared. It is good practice to write down your square numbers, then look at the list. So 1 isn't on the list, 4 isn't, 9 isn't, but 16 is. And the last one on question 7, write down a number that is a multiple of 6. So that is my 6 times table. I'm writing out my 6 times table, and I can see I can use the number 24. Right, let's look at the last question, question number 8. So again, it's asking us to use from the list, and we've got to write down 3 different prime numbers. Well, first of all, let's get rid of the numbers that are not prime. 1 is not prime. It has only one factor. 2 is, because the only numbers that go into that are 2 and 1. 4 is not, because 2 goes into it. 5 is, because the only numbers that go into 5 are 5 and 1. 7 is, 11 is, 13 is prime, 14 is not because it's even, 15 isn't because 5 goes into it, and 17 is prime because the only numbers that go into it are 17 and 1. Now we need to check these numbers to see which ones will add together to give us 20. Right, well, 17 add 2 and there's no 1, so that will never work. 13 add 2 is 15, add 5. So it's 2, 5 and 13 work. Let's check to see if there's anything else. I want 3 numbers, so I can't use 13 and 7. Let's have a look at the question using 11. 11 add 7 is 18, add 2, so 2, 7, 11 would work, and that would be it. Thank you.